Welcome to episode 16 of the Balance Podcast. My name is Tyler Valencia, and I'm the president of KIPS and Time to Train Fitness. This is going to be more of a discussion type of episode where I have a topic that hopefully piques the interest of listeners out there and that maybe they can contribute to and hopefully help individuals out there in the health and fitness space industry that are potentially looking at getting into it. I have done this topic before in another podcast that I am the host of, and since then have really thought about this more, but also spoken to different fitness health professionals that have contributed to a slight update in this topic. So what we're going to be talking about is online a good route for first-time instructors. Now that's one that if you were to think maybe 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, many people would say, no, like, why? What are you going to get out of doing online? No, you need to do hands-on. You need to be in person. You need to get your repetitions and think about it. If you are a fitness instructor or personal trainer, how hard that might have been to work in person, trying to get repetitions, just even trying to get that first client, and how many times, how many phone calls, cold calls, or even emails you had to send to hopefully just get that one practice session and then hopefully hit it right off the bat because you're in a smaller market. You're in a small market and potentially having to compete with bigger businesses that have paid marketing, that have funnel systems already in place. And so as a new instructor, you don't have that type of exposure that you might not get. So thinking about that and now jumping forward to 2022 as I'm recording this session, there's more opportunities out there. And that's what online gives a lot of instructors. It gives them the possibility of reaching a bigger market, putting themselves out there, and really trying to get those repetitions. And so we're going to be talking about this throughout the episode. And as you could probably tell, I have a little bit of a positive outlook on online instruction because I am very big into the online space. I already have 2 companies that do online, and one's education, the other one does online workouts. So I could say that I'm biased, but it's not just because I work in that space. I have worked in gyms. I have been an independent business owner that did personal training, boot camps, outdoors, in person, and thinking about online now and thinking about the state of the industry and how can new people get in. Online just creates a lot of options for them. So little more background to this. About maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I was talking with an instructor of mine about a possible new hire. And we were talking about how this instructor had never done in-person training. All they've done is online training. And that question right there kind of proposed a interesting topic to think about. Is a new hire for my company, if they've never taught in person, is that an issue? It's an online business. Is it an issue that they've never had to teach a class to 15, 10, 30 people that they've only just taught in front of a camera? Is that really an issue? And as I started to think about it more, it really became apparent to me that no, it's not. It's not an issue, not just because it's online and they've only done online before, but there's so many benefits, differences of online training that you have to keep an open mind when you're going into online instruction. You have to start to think about, what are the differences? How do I grow in this space? Because if you just try to go into online and just do the same exact thing, you're going to quickly realize that, there are some differences. And if I do want to grow, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's selling online workouts, that you're going to have to learn about it and switch out the way that you approach it. So let's talk about one of the issues that entry-level instructors, trainers face when they're coming in, when they're just starting. And having talked with directors of education, general managers, fitness managers, throughout my time in the fitness industry, I could say that I've heard over and over that communication skills is one of the biggest things that entry-level instructors miss. That the education that they get, the entry-level certification, just doesn't have enough training, education, knowledge on communication skills, exercise psychology, things that are going to help them create that connection, create that bond with someone that's going to make them want to invest. And that doesn't have to just be particular to personal training. It can be some type of holistic health business that you're working on, that the communication skills, if you have a service, you are having to communicate those things to that individual. So with education in general, those are typically not the things in an entry-level certification. It's typically the science, which I have no issues with. It's typically very basic exercise science, very basic programming. And with all those things, we have to think about it. How do then people get that experience? A lot of it comes from repetitions, as I talked about. So with all these things and thinking about now online, if online is a good route for someone that is wanting to enter the industry, they are new to it, and they're looking at their options, and maybe a company's offering, hey, we have this online position, but we want someone with experience. Is that right? Is that right? When we know that they're still going to get repetitions. Maybe now we have to look at the training. We have to look at how we get people ready for online work. And I think that online training is fantastic for instructors across the board, that it is a way to really expand yourself and in some ways become more efficient, that you can train people from your home, provide them with a quality workout, provide them with quality instruction. That's one of the things that I feel like gets swept under the rug, that you can do those things. You can provide all those things. Yes, is it different? Yes, is it going to take some more work to realize these types of things? But you could still do those types of things. And I think that's one of the things that managers, owners, if they are hiring in that area, that you need to provide them with the tools to excel in those areas. Because think about it. It is not the apples to apples situation that we're talking about before. Let's take an example now. A guest that I've actually had on the Balance podcast was talking about online training and some of the things that she does. And this was Mary Kennedy. She's been on the podcast. Check out her episode. But she talked about how prior to a session, she makes sure that she provides the information that that person will need to not have to waste time with going off to grab their bands, grab their weights, whatever there is. So that's one difference right there. But now, how do you take now assessments? How do you take exercises? And this is where camera angles, positioning, and even points of emphasis come into play. And those things are part of the experience, knowledge that someone will go through to get better at teaching online. Now let's talk about probably my biggest point here, and that is the over communication of online workouts. Now, I've talked about this in tutorials on Balance, the YouTube channel, but also talked on the podcast about this with the over communication of online workouts, because it's one of the biggest things that I noticed right off the bat, that when I'm looking to hire somebody or when I'm looking to help someone work online, how can they get better? I'm thinking about their communication through the screen. And the biggest thing that I've seen is that instructors that are solid, that know their stuff, you can tell that they have a real presence on screen, they feel comfortable, is that they over cue, they over communicate what they're trying to explain to the individual. You think about it, not everybody is into exercise. Not everybody knows how to do a hip hinge. Not everybody knows how to do a squat. Not everybody knows how to do a lot of exercises. And you don't have that freedom to just manually manipulate somebody or just tell them, hey, look right here. And then you're going to get in different positions right in front of them. You're doing it through the screen. So you have to really emphasize and over cue certain exercises. Now, if we think back to some of our education, we think back to the stages of learning and how people receive information, people learn at different rates. People will conceptualize, people will comprehend at different rates, and it might take them the 5th, the 8th, the 15th time that you say something to them that it finally clicks in their head that, oh, that's what you meant. You were talking about my hips, how to hip hinge and not squat. Oh, that makes sense. And so over saying it 3 times, saying it 4 times within one period of time, in my mind, there's nothing wrong with that. And so where do you see that in maybe live training? You see it after maybe 3-4 years. Once somebody's got enough experience, the point that I keep coming back to, they get that experience and they finally realize, oh, cueing and really being able to communicate these skills, over communicating them, that comes with time, with experience. And you get that with online. You get that with online instruction, and you see it much earlier instructors, in my opinion, because they realize those things. They're using all the different senses, visual, auditory, all to be able to try to get this through the screen. Now, I have to throw this part in there because I know that somebody listening might be thinking, well, you can get all these things in person. You can get these in person and that people need to go back to in person. Okay, I get it if that's your viewpoint. But in my opinion, good onboarding is hard to come by. And I think it shows within the industry. If there were good onboarding programs across the industry, people would last longer. People would be in this industry longer than 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. I don't know if there's an exact percentage on it, but we know that fitness instructors don't stick around that long because it's hard. It's hard to stay in the industry, gain new clients, grow your skill set, and be able to get all these things in such a short amount of time with little pay. So those are things that I feel like online can supplement. Online can give you that freedom. If online training is maybe starting as your side hustle, okay, now you have a bigger audience. You have that ability. You did your education, you did your online training, and now you want to look at doing online training to potentially lead to a career. Yeah, I think that can be fantastic. Or if you are wanting to get into the industry full time and you're looking at your options online, in person, and now you're thinking, should I just go with online? Give it a try. I'm here to say, give it a try. See if it can really help you. See if you can expand in that route. Now, let's wrap this up with a couple tips that hopefully can help someone listening that maybe wants to go into the online space and they're not quite sure what resources are out there, where to start, all that kind of stuff. And a good one that I do myself is I watch other online workouts. I watch online workouts mostly for me. I watch for the production of it, the lighting, the quality of it, the cameras, because that's stuff that I want to apply right away. But if you are getting into it and you want to see the tone, how does someone speak to the camera? How are they using their frame? That's a great way to learn, to visually see those things. And I have to say this because it's one of the common things that I feel like first-time instructors will want to do is compare themselves, and do not compare yourselves. Look for ways to apply it yourself. That is the key, the lens that you want to do when you're looking at people that are established, because think about it, they've been at it a while. They have those reps. You're just starting. You're going to get better. So keep that lens, keep that approach as you get into it. The next one, and this is one that applies across the board with online workouts, is just get started. And it kind of just feeds off the other one. Just get started, get those reps, get going, and learn. Rewatch your workouts, see what you did, see what you said, and learn from it. That's going to be really big for improvement wise. And then the last one, and this is one that is a big difference between online and in person, is use your space. This is one that I've talked about in different tutorials, but use your space to benefit you. When you're filming, let's say you're in your office, you're in your living room, and you have your camera set up, you're filming an online workout, and maybe you're forgetting your exercises, you're forgetting what's in the program, because with live, think about it, you have to have that routine down. But with online, people don't see what's behind the camera. They don't see it. So use it to your advantage. Use that space, put up a whiteboard, put up notes, use your space to your advantage so that you can succeed. Don't feel bad about those items because it only helps you in the long run. So that's been it for this discussion episode. I would love to hear what listeners have to say about it, what maybe they've gone through, what tips they can share. This episode is all about helping others out there, others in the health, the fitness space, wanting to get into it. So if you have something that maybe you've been using that really benefits you with online, or that you feel like someone just starting off would benefit from, drop it in the comments. Let's share it up and hopefully help others out there. My name is Tyler Valencia. Make sure that if you have not listened to other episodes in the Balance Podcast or checked out our YouTube channel, check it out, subscribe, and listen, learn. All free education, knowledge out there being shared. I'll see you in the next one.